Okay, look, I know Halloween is over. I know. I already made a Halloween video to a reception. But after playing this disgusting masterpiece, I have to talk about it. I have to. In the recent years of my life, I've become both a Resident Evil and an Alien Isolation fan. Both very good survival horror games, but those games have way too many polygons. Lady Dimitrescu's bottom has more polygons in it than the first Resident Evil game does. That's ridiculous. I want less gigabytes. I want less polygons. This brings us to Gloomwood, gifted to the masses by New Blood Interactive. Gloomwood is a Victorian-style tribute to the early 90s and 2000s gaming scene. This demake trend has become very popular in recent years, as it allows indie devs to focus on gameplay and story, as opposed to graphics, such as, ray tracing and hyperrealism and RGB and LGBT and IBF. After seeing Ultra Kill, Faith, and now Gloomwood, I can confidently say New Blood has mastered this style. So, let's analyze this, I guess. Luckily, even with the seemingly dated graphics, you cannot say the same for the gameplay. The basics are all covered here. There's fun stealth with decent wiggle room without being too easy, and there's a great arsenal of weapons that you can accumulate that are fun and helpful to use. You start with a sword, like this. Call me Cell Sword Arts. Then you get a revolver. Mine's broken, so I have this. This is fake, it's a toy. This is a toy. And a shotgun. I think there's more, but I couldn't find it. It was early in the morning when he rode into the town. And there is a perfect risk-reward balance. For example, in any stealth confrontation, you have to decide whether you're willing to risk getting out in the open for the reward of stabbing someone in the back. Just like a real UK alleyway. Now, the main issue that most survival horror games struggle with is balancing between combat and horror. For example, Alien Isolation starts out with ball sweat-inducing terror, and any combat interaction you get with will leave you just like Jesse Pinkman, beat up and going back to the needle. But once you get closer to the end of the game, pretty much everything you come across can either be shot or blown up, and you lose that aspect of horror that the game started with. Resident Evil suffers from the same issue, where you either run or shoot. They start to feel like regular first-person shooters as opposed to, horror games. Now this is where Gloomwood comes in, kick flips and smokes and alcohol, probably, I don't know. The mines level is a phenomenal example of this. Once you enter the mines, they continue to set up these goofy, wacky doggo expectations. That was so dumb. I'm not gonna use it. Think of it this way. They're pit bulls and you are a toddler. Yeah. As you're getting deeper in the mines, for a puzzle, you have to turn off the lights so that you can get further into the mines. A good mix of lighting, gameplay, and sound design creates a perfect atmosphere. And just like me, the hounds enjoy some yummy batteries, so their eyes glow in the dark. Such a small, simple sprite is able to elicit such fear out of me and cause my diapers to get a little bit more full. That small design choice was such a good design choice. The design of the map in this game is phenomenal. Just like Dark Souls, the map sort of wraps around itself. This is done to get you back to save points whenever you make progress. Also like Dark Souls, I never feel stuck, stepbro. There's always a new challenge to overcome or new location to explore. Now, there is a small learning curve at the beginning of the game. You have to learn how sensitive the stealth is, how far you can be from the enemies. Can they hear me? Can they see me? Can they smell me? How do I stop stinking? Do I need to shower? As I started to get a hold of all my gadgets and gizmos, I could focus on the environment itself. And even with the low poly map and all the old textures, it's a gorgeous landscape. The lighthouse in the distance, the hollowed caves and mines, and the haunted, abandoned town. It honestly amazes me how they're able to use so little to immerse someone as stupid as myself. Now, not only is this map simp-worthy, but it's constructed sort of as the Swiss Army knife of maps, as it serves many other purposes besides just looking nice. And the reason I say this is because it allows you to play the way you want to play. If you want to sprint through and kind of speed run and just have an incredibly linear experience, you can. Get there as fast as you want. Finish the game in an hour. Or you can go off to different divots and branches of the map and maybe even solve some puzzles that you get some new weapons and items, like this. This isn't a weapon in the game, I just have it, and I wanted to show that I can do that. Solving these side puzzles is fun, but not necessary. Kind of like paying your taxes. And just like taxes, Gloomwood is horrifying. Now, I touched on this a bit earlier, but I would say this game is scary, spooky, creepy even. But I know what you're thinking. You've been watching this gameplay behind me this whole time, and you're like,
that's not very scary.
And honestly, sometimes it's not. But when it is, it really is. For example, in your normal stealth section, your enemy's vision cones will change color depending on how aware of your presence they are. Obviously, you want them to stay green, but if they hear you, they could go from green to yellow. And when that happens, you kind of just have to sit still and wait. You just have to cross your fingers and hope that it goes back to green, and God forbid it turns red. Because the moment his vision cone turns red, every enemy in the area goes aggro and tries to kill you. Now, sometimes this isn't so bad, but keep in mind, the saves can be few and far between, especially if you're not paying attention. So everyone coming at you to kill you, you could be totally screwed. But that moment, when this sickly, masked, annoying 4chan user is looking for you, and you're just sitting there praying that his vision cone goes back to green, it is such a special, tense moment that's hard to recreate. That moment, when done right, can be highly engaging. But the last thing that sets this atmosphere, it's not the gameplay, it's not the story, it's not the sound, it's not the map, but it's the dated graphics. That was probably underwhelming, please hear me out. Recently, an online trend has occurred where creators purposefully degrade the quality of their content, specifically for a scary effect, whether it's analog horror or found footage, or in this case, low-poly video games. Gloomwood utilizes this style of horror very well, because if they want to scare you, they'll limit what you know and what you can see, because your imagination will make something much scarier than anything they can come up with. Looking back on this experience, I feel like Gloomwood is woefully underrated. I don't know what woefully means. Even the most viewed videos I could find on YouTube with Gloomwood as a subject had something else more popular in the title and thumbnail. The trailer for the game has only like 50,000 views. That probably means this wasn't a good choice on my end to make a video about it, but whatever. New Blood appears to be on this journey of proving that graphics don't really matter as long as your gameplay is good, and after seeing their success, I would have to agree. And honestly, Gloomwood, even in its stinky Victorian setting, is a breath of fresh air for me, and I hope more people start to make content about it, so that this video does better. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it if you made it this far. If you want any more styles of videos, please let me know in the comments below. And also, please check out these channels right here as well, Intrepid and Bold and Banana Galaxy. Bye.
Vacation, got best car like Mando. I hope I could kill Lando. In this universe, I drive the equivalent of a Lambo. I feel like Galactic Rambo, like Hunter Bad Batch Commando. I still hate sand though. It's a trap, like straight out the bando. Plus you'll never see me coming, cause I got camo.